Brands Hatch, qualified 7th on the grid. 6th was my biggest rival, Seeley. We're going for the championship.
Qualifying was going okay at the beginning. We went out with new tyre in the rear, scrub on the front, and had good feel from the front. Put ourselves second. Felt the rear was moving around quite a bit, so pulled in for another new rear tyre. But for some reason, when we got the new tyre, it just didn't seem to have the same grip. At 2 big moments, near spat me off. So I just sort of said, you know, if you race later on, you don't want to do anything silly, trash a bike, maybe get injured. Championship's more important. The races are more important as well. So we dropped down the order to 6th, which wasn't ideal, but at the end of the day, I've been getting the bike off the line pretty well this year.
As the lights go out, who's going to hit the throttle hardest? And first, Billy McConnell gets a brilliant start in the bright pink helmet, middle of screen. McConnell, bravo, Cooper rides round him, going down into Paddock Hill Bend and showing the assurance he exhibited throughout the sketchy conditions in qualifying. It's Cooper at the front, with Alistair Seeley already forcing away underneath the reigning champion Glenn Richards into 4th place as they curl round Druids Bend. But it's Cooper leads it, and here comes Seeley bravely looking underneath as to grab that 3rd place.
And look at Seeley up to 2nd as well. Billy McConnell up the inside of that dry. It's a dry, wet line there. Look at that. That is so tight round that bit. You've got to be very, very careful. Seeley, though, showing his intent. He knew that he was next to Easton on the grid. He knows that he can maybe get going a little bit quicker than Easton here.
That's worth 20 points to him. He's 19 points off the championship lead with 2 races left.
He is, and I reckon that Easton's back in about 8th spot at the moment, so that would be a great big points haul to grab back on this race. We'll have a little look as they come across the line now. We'll find out exactly what's going on.
Easton's 9th. So Easton's 9th, that's worth 7 points for the equally small Scotsman.
That is Stuart Easton, that is your championship leader there.
But Easton's got Gowland, McKenzie, Newstead all over him. Glenn Richards threatening Alistair Seeley. He may have got underneath him, dropping into Paddock Hill Bend. He has. So suddenly the complexion of the race changes because Seeley's lost 2 places to the Smiths Racing boys.
Stuart Easton under observation, smoke. We'll have to keep a close eye on that. Don't forget that this last year, Martrain were going to win the championship with Jack Kennedy when they had a problem with the motorcycle. It dropped a valve, and that was that. We've got everything crossed that is not the case here. Seeley's in 5th. We got Easton in 11th. Oh, actually, that bike doesn't look too bad to me.
Seeley gets terrific drive out of clearways and the Clark curve, launches himself back past the 40-year-old reigning champion Glenn Richards, number 1. 4 points the difference at the moment in the championship, should it stay this way. But Seeley knows that O'Halloran will be restless to find a way back past him.
We are hearing there is definitely smoke coming out of Easton's bike. It's just come through again.
2nd place for Alistair Seeley, that's vital. 3rd, Luke Jones, what a ride. O'Halloran nicks 4th place from Billy McConnell. 6th for Glenn Richards. 7th for the yellow machine of number 2, Glenn Irwin, ahead of Graham Gowland, Taylor McKenzie, Danny Buchan. 11th place for that man, Stuart Easton, on the blue Martrain Yamaha. So 4 points separate the 2 main protagonists for tomorrow's race.
We got a good start. I think I barged a few people out of the way in the first lap. Got myself in the 2nd position, but I could see Richard Cooper, who had checked out the first 2 laps. I couldn't carry that speed for the first few laps. With the setup, we had tried a bit of a change, and it took me a few laps to find my feet with it, get a gauge of where the grip was, and the 2 Triumphs came by me, and then O'Halloran came by me. And I was just trying to see what they were doing different, if they were doing any different lines than me. And there's a few corners where they were, so I just tried their lines, found a bit more grip, and just put the hammer down and said, you know, if you want to win this championship, you got to be prepared to stick your neck on the line. So tomorrow it feels very much like 2 years ago when me and Ben went into the last race. It was 4 points in it as well, and winner takes all. So if tomorrow's wet or dry, I feel pretty confident going into tomorrow, and hopefully we have the same outcome as 2 years ago.
First race didn't go to plan. The conditions were very tricky, and it was like a dry line with the wet tyres on, and unfortunately finished way down in 11th, and Alistair was second, so we lost a lot of points. So yeah, not the best weekend so far, but we're going into the last race of the year, basically winner takes all.
Alistair finished second, that was excellent, especially as Stuart Easton unfortunately had a problem, finished 11th, so it's brought the championship much closer again now. We feel today, yes, we've got a lot better chance of winning this. I think it's 4 points behind we are, everything to play for.
Supersport, the final race, the climax to the series. Seeley's been here before, of course. He was involved in that amazing scrap with Ben Wilson at the final race of the series 2 years ago. He finally emerged victorious by a single point. He didn't grab the advantage though as they went over Paddock Hill Bend. Easton, in these drying conditions, made a brilliant start. He's leapt up to 8th place on the number 5 Martrain Yamaha. He's right in the pack there. So Easton's done what he needed to do early on. He had got to get a bright start, and he's already making move. I think he was cutting inside as they dropped down Pilgrim's Drop, but look at this, there's rain up there, James. There's rain at the top end of the track, is there? Or was it my imagination?
There was a little bit of rain. We saw a hand sort of lifted up there. Whether or not it's just that one, you can see the rain flags out there with the marshals. So very difficult conditions. They declared it a dry race. If you look at the rain there, you can see the rain there. This might... Basically, there's a few guys that could put the hand up. We've got Seeley, we've got Easton, red flag.
And the red flag's out.
Yeah, because
after Stuart Easton made just the start he needed, but of course, as soon as the conditions get a bit iffy, then you've got to look back, veer back towards Alistair Seeley. Alistair Seeley looking very, very thoughtful. The pressure was on him. It was interesting that it was his former team boss, James, Philip Neal, who was the last man to come out and have a pep talk with him on the grid before they departed for that race. So Stuart Easton then thoughtfully sits in the Martrain Yamaha garage. Martrain, who lost the championship right on the final race here at Brands a year ago. Can he turn their fortunes around? All to play for here, 14 laps to do it. It's been declared a wet race, so of course no one can come in and change anything as we look for Stuart Easton making an attempted dive actually round the outside as they drop down Paddock Hill Bend. A brave move by the lad from Hawick just over the border into Scotland, but what a move there by Alistair Seeley. This time he's done what he needed to do. He's grabbed the race lead. Remember, if he wins this race, and even second place is not good enough for Stuart Easton. He simply has to do better than that.
Look, there he is, Easton. He's going past Billy McConnell with the pink helmet on the Triumph, so you can see Stuart Easton trying to make a move there, and has he made it stick? Yes, he has. So Easton up to 7th.
We watch Luke Jones pull a move. Sit up Alistair Seeley as they go into Sheen Curb. Seeley tried to resist. That in the end was a slight mistake because it cost him 3 places.
Well, I tell you what though, Stuart Easton will be buying him a beer later on.
Down goes Taylor Mackenzie is that.
In this position, Seeley will win the championship. The man in 4th, Stuart Easton, who's got a 4-point lead there on the blue and white Martrain Yamaha. He knows what he's got to do. He's got to get past. He's got to take this race to Alistair Seeley. If you looked at Easton, he was right in the back of Richards. I think he'll make a move. Let's see, he's making a move, and that you could see him teeing that one up. So basically, now he's got a bit of clear track, okay? And now let's see what he can do.
As they scorch across the line, they complete the 6th of 15 laps. Richard Cooper goes for the front. Oh, brilliant move by Cooperman. He goes slices beneath Alistair Seeley. So now a straight fight. Well, at the moment, their 2 championship contenders are nailed together.
At the moment, what it means is Easton will win the championship, because if it stayed like this, he'd win it on countback of races.
Because they'd be level on points.
There you go.
Easton has got to try and make a move because Seeley swoops round brilliantly as they go down Dingle Dell, round the outside to take the lead back from Cooper. And here's the back marker out of the way.
He gets out of the way, you saw him dangle a foot. But this is it, Seeley knows what he's got to do. He's got to try and win. He'll have it on his board, he'll know Easton's behind him. What does Easton do? Does Easton just try and stay one behind him? He's not good enough to finish second.
No, he's not the race win, mate. He's got it.
Exactly, so he's got to push for the win as well.
So right now that makes Seeley the champion.
Oh!
Oh, he sorted out. Oh, what did that feel like?
Oh, well, at the end of the day, he should have looked at his blue flags, to be honest, because he's not even in a race on his own. He should have been looking at the flags,
what a
getting
move
out
there
of the way.
by Stuart Easton. He took advantage of that distraction there for Richard Cooper and stormed past the Oxford Tag Triumph. Yeah. Now, as they side through Stirling's Bend, it's a straight fight. Well, at this moment in time, first and second, Seeley Easton.
Now, this is where they've got to be careful, because just as they're coming into there, we're hearing there's rain down here, rain at Hawthorns, so they've got to be a little bit careful on there. They're not going to stop it, of course. It is a wet race. That is why I don't know why Seeley was raising his arm, because they have already declared this a wet race. And look at this,
good move there by Alistair Seeley. Gets underneath Seeley. Sorry, Easton underneath Seeley. Richard Cooper follows through. It's changed again. The championship lead now launches back into Stuart Easton's hands.
It's a wet race.
If it's a wet race, surely
it has done 2/3 distance. They can. The organisers
Seeley takes advantage of that moment and tries to cut back inside Stuart Easton. If it's raining, so if it's a wet race, I thought it had to go until the organisers chose to stop it, James. Now this is it. This is the ride for the title. We know that Seeley's good in these conditions and they come charging down. Oh, the blue flag is out to warn them. Seeley goes through into the lead on the 11th of 15 laps, and the hands are being held up all around.
So if this race, it's a wet race, so it doesn't make any difference unless the organisers think it's really, really dangerous. Red flag, it is a red flag.
The red flag's gone out.
Back.
And there's a crash at turn 1, we've heard. It's not due to the weather. It's due to a crash at turn 1.
So it's a snapshot.
If it's a 2/3 race difference, you go back to Easton wins. Easton crossed the line ahead of Seeley, and that means that Stuart Easton, there's Claire, his wife, being hugged by the Martrain gang. Oh, and sorrow in the de Badalf camp, and Gail in Kawasaki. How unlucky was that? Wow. A crash at the first turn that didn't look a good one, and that means tears in the Martrain Yamaha camp, because the Italian haulage contractors have finally pulled it off. They've won the Motorpoint British Supersport Championship after the heartbreak of 12 months ago, and Stuart Easton did enough.
It's been an unbelievable season. We came to Brands Hatch, won our first race out with Stuart. We've had some serious ups and downs. We've won an awful lot of races, 9 race wins, 2 doubles. It's been unbelievable. I've been chasing this championship with Yamaha for an awfully long time. We've come second 5 times. We've been in this position twice. To do the business today, just, it doesn't make my day, it doesn't make my year. It vindicates my time with Yamaha. It's been fantastic.
No point saying ifs and buts now. Stuart won the championship, so fair play to him, but full credit to my crew around me, Aaron and Damien and Michael, Paul on the tyres, everybody involved. It's been a good year, one to remember, and come back stronger next year, hopefully try and lift another title.
British Supersport champions this year, it's still not sunk in yet. I feel like it's unbelievable, I still don't believe I've done it, It's been a long, hard season, but we've won 10 races, more than anybody else, and we've got the championship. It all came down to that last race, like I said earlier, and just gave it everything I had, and I had to win. And if I wasn't winning, I was crashing. That was for sure. So it was everything was on the table, nothing left. So really relieved. Happy but relieved, and I don't know. It's just great. I think we'll probably sink in a bit when we have a good few beers tonight.